Well, good morning. In 1963, Ed Lorenz made a presentation to the New York Academy of Sciences, where he was literally laughed out of the room. His theory, now known as the butterfly effect, stated that a butterfly flapping its wings would set air molecules into motion, which would create a chain reaction, eventually starting a hurricane that would span the globe. For years, this remained an interesting myth, but in the mid-1990s, physics professors proved that the butterfly effect is accurate, viable, and works every time. It has now been given the status of a scientific law. What does that mean for us? That does not just hold true in science, it holds true in life. Every conversation, every step we take has a ripple effect that can change the course of history. My ripple started about 2 decades ago in corporate America. I was part of a global tech company doing mergers and acquisitions in Southeast Asia, India, and Europe. Through my travels, I saw the horrors of human trafficking internationally. But when I came back home, I realized that this atrocity existed in my own backyard. Human trafficking is now one of the top 3 issues in our world. It is the second largest criminal enterprise, but I think what's really surprising is that the United States is in the top 3 nations in the world for human trafficking, feeding a $150 billion criminal enterprise. But I think what really startled me was the fact that 40% of victims of trafficking are first trafficked by family members. The people who are supposed to protect these kids are the ones who are usually trafficking them. That means that traffickers don't have to rely on force or dramatic abductions to ensnare their victims. Instead, they use manipulation and coercion, turning trust, fear, or desperation into weapons of control, which is a means to exploit them for profit. They prey on vulnerabilities, dismantling the very lives they claim to support. But as a mom, what really struck a chord with me is that the average age somebody is first trafficked in the United States is only 12 years old. Imagine a bright child full of potential and opportunity being ensnared into a world of exploitation. This is a reality for many children in our communities. We estimate that over 300,000 American kids will be trafficked this year in the United States. But where are they? Only 1% is currently identified. But I want to bring this home for us. There's a staggering truth that applies to every single person in this room. 75% of victims of human trafficking will come in contact with the hotels while they're being exploited. That means that this is an issue that is woven into our professional lives, whether we want it to be or not. So 7 years ago, I found myself at a crossroads. I had spent over a decade thriving in corporate America. I didn't know what I was supposed to do with the realization that human trafficking was happening. There had to be other people more equipped to address this complex issue. But I was also a military spouse with 2 young children and a husband who was deployed overseas. It was not the logical time to step out of corporate America and out of my career to launch an organization. But then I was reminded, what you tolerate, you give permission to exist. And so I took a step that felt both audacious and necessary. I traded the boardroom for a mission to bring light to the darkest places in our society. We launched Safe House Project in 2017, and today I lead that organization as the Chief Operating Officer. But I want to make it clear, you don't have to leave your career or start a nonprofit to be part of this issue. Every person can take a step to be part of that change, to see human trafficking eradicated in the United States and around the world. So every day, our emergency response team receives calls from healthcare professionals, law enforcement, nonprofits, helping identify individuals who have experienced trafficking. We also receive calls from those who are currently still trapped in a trafficking situation. Women, men, children, desperate for someone to step in and help them escape. There was one survivor who stepped into my life in that first year, and it's her story that fuels me today. It's the story of our survivor, Hope. Hope's trafficking situation started before she even knew how to write her name. Her mom was on the school board. Her dad is a firefighter. To the outside world, her life looked normal. But behind closed doors, she was experiencing incredible trauma at the hands of her parents. Her lifeline, though, is that she started to write. She created a blog and shared parts of her story, which I stumbled upon. So I reached out wanting to thank her for her bravery, her courage to share some of the hardest truths in our communities. But it was in that reach out that I realized that she was still trapped in that trafficking situation. Over time, I built her trust, and so when a life-threatening situation came against her, she reached out, and our team was there to support her as she exited that trafficking situation. In the years that's followed, this is one of the quotes that stood out from when she first exited. Safe House Project saved my life. They didn't rescue me or make me leave. They gave me a choice. And when I was ready, they were there to find me safe housing and a life where I could finally dream. I never thought I would live long enough to dream. Hope's story taught me that resilience can be found even in the darkest of places. There are opportunities for all of us to step in and work to identify those who are experiencing trafficking, to transform despair to hope. Hope's resilience is the reason we continue to fight. It's the reason I stand here today and share her story, because each of us has the opportunity to help bring light to some of these dark places. So Safe House Project, our mission is clear. We want to eradicate human trafficking, and we want to empower survivors to rebuild their lives. So when we launched, we knew that we didn't just want to create impact. We wanted to be effective. We wanted to be innovative. And we wanted to drive real solutions to help communities feel empowered to respond to human trafficking. We know there's a lot more work left to do, but we're extremely proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the past 7 years. We've trained over 400,000 people to identify and report suspected trafficking. That's 400,000 sets of eyes and ears that are able to identify suspicious activity, report it to local law enforcement, and then see survivors exit and their lives redeemed. We provide over 174,000 safe nights annually. This is more than shelter. It's an opportunity for a survivor to rebuild their life, to rewrite their story. But the stat that we are most proud of is that we have served over 2,148 survivors with emergency response services. That's 2,148 individuals who are now seeing their stories as part of a larger mission of eradicating human trafficking. They are seeing post-traumatic growth and healing from the complex trauma that they've endured. But these are more than just numbers. These are lives. Each one of that 2,148 represents somebody who had the courage, the resilience, and the power of community to combat this evil. And this is why Safe House Project has become the national leader in combating human trafficking. We've earned the trust of local law enforcement, federal law enforcement, nonprofits, government, our corporate partners, and survivors. We know that when we combine results and collaboration, change happens. But here's the truth. We don't just want to make an impact. We're here to redefine the fight against human trafficking, to build solutions that last, to bring hope to the places there was once only despair. So Hope's story did not end with her escaping her trafficker. She chose to step out and rebuild her life. And today she serves on our team, helping lead the creation of our training solutions. Her and our team of survivor experts ensure that we are bringing the most relevant information to communities to make sure that we can identify and report and support survivors of human trafficking. On Watch is our survivor-led training, and it is the thing that has rolled out to hundreds of thousands of people. Hope has seen her story rewritten in a way that empowers people to be part of the solution, and she is changing lives every single day. So I want to share one story of hope that came out of this training. Last year, an in-home service technician arrived at a job where something just didn't feel right. The couple wouldn't let him upstairs and finally relented, but they restricted which rooms he was allowed to enter. Their resistance raised his suspicion. And as a result of having taken the On Watch training, he knew not only how to recognize the subtle signs of trafficking, but what to do. So he reported it to the right authorities, and through that investigation, we saw over 15 survivors escape that trafficking situation. That's the power of being trained. This isn't just about law enforcement or nonprofits. The tools to make a difference are already here. Solutions are within reach, and change is happening. So we're here to empower you all to take a step in the fight. Imagine if your community had the power to identify trafficking in real time. Imagine if survivors could be connected with relevant resources in real time. Imagine if local law enforcement, federal agencies, and the nonprofits that support them were able to collaborate more seamlessly and effectively. Well, that's what we've built, SafeWatch. SafeWatch is an innovative AI platform that will help improve our approach to combating trafficking. It revolutionizes how we tackle this complex problem. For so long, our solutions have lived in disparate systems. They've been fraught with challenges, lack of collaboration. SafeWatch resolves that. It brings it into one central system that creates a coordinated effort across the country to systematically address human trafficking. So imagine you have a hotelier who suspects that trafficking may be happening on property. This tool allows them to report it and know that that information is being directed to the right authority to see a response and help dismantle these trafficking networks and serve survivors. Over the years, as I've worked to combat trafficking, one thing has become abundantly clear. Solving this crisis requires more than good intentions. It demands a strategic, coordinated effort. So with that, last year I wrote the book, Eradicating Human Trafficking, a transformative approach through collective impact. This is not a storybook. This is an actionable framework that helps deliver real solutions, that fosters cross-sector collaboration, that helps provide a roadmap to all of us to know how we can be part of the solution to eradicate human trafficking. Through this book, we outline what are the steps that each person can take, no matter how small, to be part of ensuring that we are working together through public-private partnership to really tackle this issue in a wide variety of ways. So I invite you to be part of the solution by educating yourself on how you can take that first step to understand a complex issue. Or maybe you're someone who understands this issue deeply. This gives you a roadmap for helping bring along those in your community to really see this reach that end state of eradication. So we began today reflecting on the butterfly effect, the idea that a single small action can set off a chain of events leading to monumental change. This isn't about having all the answers. It's about choosing to take the first step, to refuse to tolerate what is wrong, and to align yourself with what is right. So I ask you, how are you going to flap your wings? What one step will you take today to help us move toward a world free of exploitation? Thank you.